We're joined here on FlowFM by Dr. Mariana Caetano. She is a lecturer in Animal Nutrition and Metabolism at the University of Adelaide. Mariana, good to have you with us today on Flow.
Thank you, Ricky, for having me.
Now, you've got our attention talking about putting cows on a breathalyzer. Now, it's not about alcohol, but we're talking about methane here, aren't we?
Yeah, that's correct. So that is a way that we can measure the impact of some feeding strategies on methane emissions in livestock.
Now, there's been a lot of conversation about this, and people have a little giggle when we talk about burps and farts from cows. Last I understood, as a ruminant animal, it's mostly the burps that are the concern, but is the other end a concern as well?
Well, actually, 90 to 95% comes from burps, right? And only 5 to 10% from farts. So actually, when we do these research, we normally focus on the burps rather than the farts.
Now, this is about the diet of the animals. Now, the concern about methane comes down to the impact that's having on the atmosphere, etc. But just tell us a bit more about the diet of cows and how we might change it to reduce their methane emissions.
Sure. So this project basically aims to further investigate the maternal seaweed supplementation of pregnant cows and the long-term effects on methane, rumen microbiota, and growth performance of the progeny. So the approach that we are using is basically using the seaweed and also the combination with other antimethanogenic compounds to tackle that topic.
Now, I know there's been some, I think there's trials and federal funding's gone into feeding seaweed to cows to reduce their methane emissions. I gather it's a pretty strongly established method, but tell us more about this biser product that you're talking about. It's something other than seaweed. Where does it come from and how can it help?
So biser is a persistent pasture legume. And what we are planning to do, it has been found that biser can also, has also some bioactive compounds that can reduce methane emissions in livestock. So what we are trying to do now is just have the adoption of biser in combination with the seaweed and see the effect of this combination on methane emissions.
Now, I noticed there's a project underway. There's a huge number of participants, including McKillop Farm Management, Barossa Improved Grazing Group, SA Livestock Consultants, and others. On the ground, where are we likely to see some of these trials happening, or what are the main experiments that will be happening to alter, I guess, the diet of some cows?
So basically, there is lots of partners with these projects. And I'm very, very pleased that we could get all these people along with their expertise to contribute. What we did, we elaborated 8 trials that will be delivered in Southern Australia, and we will be using different feeding strategies to see if we can also deliver in a quite effective way, but also considering low labor input on farm.
So what was that, low labor inputs?
Yeah, so actually when we talk about feeding strategies, some protocols may suggest that farmers would need to feed on a daily basis, which is kind of hard with the other daily routines that they already have on farm. So what we are trying to use is an approach that they don't need to feed on a daily basis, or they can simply provide a hay with containing some antimethanogenic compounds, and that will already contribute to reduce contribute to reduce the labor input.
Yeah, that's
with these feeding strategies.
Yeah, that sounds like the challenge with this one. I mean, on a farm, a cow will just graze around in a paddock and eat whatever's out there, and seaweed is going to be a bit hard for them to access. But I imagine that legume, that biser you're talking about, theoretically farmers could be growing that, and the cows could be eating it out in the field.
Exactly right, and they can also supplement with other antimethanogenic compounds that it may contribute to reduce the methane, but also they could simply make hay with biser. So we will be looking at these different strategies to see what are the results that we will get around this topic.
Yeah, it's a good point you made about making hay. It's like the old saying, making hay while the sun shines. Mariana, just before you go, we did start talking about breath testing the livestock. I'm fascinated by that. Just how are you actually going to put the cows on the breath test, and how will that help detect their methane levels?
Yeah, so we kind of have different strategies every time that we talk about breath testing livestock. We do have like some devices that we sort of use a mask, but it does require some training on animals, so then they don't get overstressed. But the approach that we are using with these projects, we are basically using green feed machines, and these machines are non-invasive. It kind of works as a base station where animals come to the machine. They will start eating some pellets, and while they are in front of these machines, the machine basically will analyze that exhale breath, and will just tell us how much methane they are producing, and also carbon dioxide.
That sounds
it's pretty a good way to measure.
Sounds like a smart solution rather than, some equivalent of a policeman shoving a bag over, and so just blow into the bag, please. Cows sometimes can't be very compliant with that sort of thing.
Exactly, but the only challenge as well that we face is that these machines are quite expensive, and it's not an option for producers to adopt. So another thing that we are proposing with these projects is that we will validate a handheld device, and we will compare with these very expensive machine. So the handheld device it's a low-cost device that hopefully can be adopted as well on farm in the future.
Well, a whole lot of movement in this direction on reducing methane emissions when it comes to livestock. Dr. Mariana Caetano is with the Adelaide University. Thanks so much for joining us to break it all down for us today.
Thank you.